Welcome back to another installment of the Reserve List Top 10. These are the hottest selling cards on the Reserve List from August 2nd to the 10th of 2024. Now you're probably wondering which Reserve List cards made it to number 1 and where there's some action going on in the market. And the good news is there's a lot of both going on right now, so we have a lot to discuss in today's video. Hi everyone and welcome back. MTG Moxman here, and thank you again for hanging out with me for another installment of the Reserve List Top 10. A reminder, if you enjoyed today's video, like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll get on to the good stuff in just a second. Let's not forget as well that if you're shopping with TCG Player, to use my affiliate link found in the description of this video. You click on my link and it takes you to TCG Player, and I get a kickback for all your shopping experiences. Now let's dive into number 10. Now, this week's number 10 is Savannah from Revised Edition. Comes in with 45 sales, which is an unusually strong number this week for the number 10 card. It has $15,747.30 of total sales action, and of course this card is averaging $349.94. Now, this card has kind of been on an uptick in the last little while, and it's something we need to make note of because of the type of lands we're dealing with. These are the epitome of perfection when you're looking at the dual lands. They were the best made lands ever created. Other people will argue for triomes or fetch lands, but for me, the old school is the best school, and that's why these cards demand such a high price tag. It doesn't mean you won't use the other lands to get to this land, but this is what you want, and the price tells you everything. Now, when we're taking a look at the number 9 card, it's kind of a surprise to see a Fallen Empires card like Thrall Champion diving into the market. Only 47 sales, which is $117.03. But here's the thing. When you see that market price there of $2.49, that's a fallacy because you can go on TCG Player and find this card for 20 cents. So if you're finding it for 20 cents, chances are you can buy a lot of copies for a lot less than $117.03. And different versions of the copy, being moderately played, heavily played, lightly played, will also give you different prices. Now, for 1 black and 4 generic, it says summon Thrall and all Thralls get +1/+1, including itself. It says tap and take control of target Thrall. You lose control of target Thrall if Thrall Champion leaves play, or if you lose control of Thrall Champion. So unlike other cards, you can keep tapping this every turn, especially with changelings and shapeshifters, to take control of a whole bunch of cards. It does see some commander play, although it's quite limited. Now, our number 8 card comes to us from the dark, and this is Cleansing. A bit of a surprise here at $11. This one kind of got on my radar by accident, as I do have a very large position of the dark. Now, it had 52 sales this week, which is $572 of total sales action. Now, when you're looking at a card like this from the dark, let's first appreciate the amazing artwork that cards like the old style stuff brings you, because that kind of picturesque type setting is just awesome to look at. I don't really know the artist names or anything, but I appreciate the art. Now, this spell, this sorcery, for 3 white, it says all land is destroyed. Players may prevent cleansing from destroying specific lands by paying 1 life for each land they wish to protect. Effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to counter this loss of life. This thing can mess you up in Commander. This thing can be a really evil card to late game play, so keep this thing in mind that it does see Commander play, and at this price tag, somebody's taking a stab at the market, and this is where things start to get interesting. Because our next card is Copy Artifact. We haven't seen this on the list for a little while. Now, 59 sales, and it's $59 is very interesting, because that's $3,481 even of total sales volume. But you can find this card cheaper than the $59 for a near mint copy. This card's been a lot higher than that, as it's been averaging in it sometimes as much as like $600, depending if it was a graded copy or not. But it's also been as low as $20 before the buyouts of 2021. There's a lot going on. Now, for 1 blue and 1 generic, this card states, select any artifact in play, and this enchantment acts as a duplicate of that artifact. It is affected by cards that affect either enchantments or artifacts. The copy remains even if the original is destroyed. Enchantments on the original artifact are not copied, of course. Now, cards like this see tremendous commander play, and it's something to keep in mind as it's also used in old school. This card should be probably around $250 to $300, and right now it's not, so people are taking advantage and buying it at the lower price. Now for our next card, this is where things we know should be here. This is Liege of the Hollows, and of course, ever since Squirrels came around from Bloomborough, this thing has seen tremendous sales. It still stays this week with 60 sales, which is only $883.20. Its average price is $14.72, and that isn't saying that much. This is not an exciting card in terms of the price or the value, but it does add something to your commander deck that people like to use, because for the 2 green and 2 generic, let's face the fact that it's kind of a vanilla for a 3/4. It almost seems, weak by today's standards, but it's what it does here as a summon spirit. If Liege of Hollows is put into a graveyard from play, each player may pay any amount of mana and put that many squirrel tokens into play under his or her control. Now, they are green creatures, but they can be used a lot, and if you use your mana right, you're going to come out ahead. Digy Do comes in again, and this is from Homelands. Now, this card is up to $16.78, 62 sales this week, or $1,040.36. This card can be bought for as little as $8 moderately played on TCG Player, or you can buy a near mint copy for around the $15 to $18 mark, which makes sense with the price we're seeing here in the market. Now, as we've stated in the past, all it will take is Wizards of the Coast to explore more tribal themes, including Minotaurs, and before you know it, this card's broken and it's a $200 to $300 card, and this is why. It's a 1 casting cost artifact that says, pay 3, take a Minotaur from your hand and put it directly into play as though it were just summoned. It doesn't matter if your Minotaur costs you 14 mana. It doesn't matter if it costs 10 mana. It costs 3 with this card. And everyone will find ways to get this artifact into play, copy this artifact, keep this artifact alive, so all the Minotaurs they put out will break you. Plain and simple. Buy 4, get it out of the way. Conch Horn coming to us from Fallen Empires. Now, this card is a throw into many different types of style of deck, including commander play, because it fits into any color. As a generic one, 67 sales, $241.20 for near mint. Of course, not all the cards selling are near mint, so it's actually a lot less of a price tag than that, just like we talked about with Thrall Champion being as cheap as it is. When you look at this card and look what it does, for a 2 generic, this artifact states that you can pay 1 and you can tap it. And when you tap it, you sacrifice the Conch Horn, draw 2 cards, and put any 1 card from your hand back on top of your library. So you're getting to draw just like a Brain Geyser, but the fact you sacrifice this also means there's other cards that can trigger us. As when an artifact goes to graveyard, you get to scry 1. There's crazy stuff you can do. So keep it in mind. This thing now has multi-effect depending on the deck style you're building with, and it can trigger more than once in other gameplay. So keep it in mind. Now, for our next card. This one, again, just like the Liege of the Hollows, it's Deranged Hermit, and of course from Urza's block, this thing's 78 sales, $6,881.94. This thing's up to $88.23. It never reached the highs of the 2021-2022 buyouts, so this thing is kind of staying where it is. It's kind of trending on a little bit of an uptick still, and there is a supply crunch, where if you're looking for a near mint copy, you can't find it, but for heavily played copies, they seem to be coming onto the market. They're just not selling that quickly because players are trying to get top dollar. Now, this is a 3 generic, 2 green summon elf with Echo. And it says, when Deranged Hermit comes into play, put 4 squirrel tokens into play. Treat these as 1/1 green creatures. All squirrels you control get +1/+1. Now, that in itself is pretty broken, especially all the other squirrels we can get in play, and the ways of recursioning and bringing this guy back make him even more powerful. Okay, this one here has been mentioned multiple times on some YouTube channels, and of course some of the bigger channels made mention, so did things like MTG Stocks. Now we're talking about Winding Canyons at 93 sales, which is $5,022. Why? Because this thing saw a $34 uptick, guys. This thing shot right up. Do you remember this thing was like 10 bucks? And I told people to buy it, and now it's $54. This is what you get when people don't pay attention. For those of you guys out there who I know bought the card, congratulations. So add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. 2 and tap it until end of turn. You may play creature cards whenever you can play instant, so all your creatures get flash. It's an amazing card. I've been speaking about it for years, and now that people see a trigger effect for it, they're like, this is amazing. Yeah, it's always been amazing. You just have to build the right deck around it. For all those people who bought 20, 30 copies, congratulations. You cashed in to thousands of dollars. Amazing. But let's talk about our next card. Guys, we are now back to number 1, and it's still the Scepter. Gushta Scepter comes in at number 1. $11.98 is the average, 293 sales, which is $3,510.14. And this thing is still going off with flubs, okay? The fact that this card is still number 1 and people are still buying it daily at this price point means the price is not shifting where people think it's going to go. It's going to stay parallel, and it's going to go this way for a while because the sales should have actually started trending down, and they're really not trending down quick enough, which means there's enough people with the flavor of the month deck with flubs that they're going to keep buying it. So either way, the sales are what they are. Now, Gush the Scepter does, have some interesting gameplay. Put any card face down underneath it. You can look at that card any time, and you can return those cards. But if you lose the Scepter, you lose all the cards. But for flubs to be reactive to it, this thing can make a lot of sense. It can make a lot of gameplay, a lot of fun, and people are starting to experiment, and I can understand why. $11 though. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content so far, but we're not done yet. We have a few notes to go over because the sales are unusually high across the board. Not all these sales make the top 10, but there's enough information here that I thought if you make it this far in the video, you're probably interested in knowing what's going on. So cards like Mangar's Tome, it still sold like 36 copies, didn't make the cut. Seeds of Innocence sold 40 copies, didn't make the cut. Fork sold 30 copies. Brain Geyser sold 30 copies. We also had Season of the Witch with 40 copies sold. There were some strange sales going on, guys. Lion's Eye Diamond, 27 sales. Underground Sea and stuff, they all sold copies, just not enough. Black Lotus, 3 copies sold. Black Lotus, 1 beta, 2 unlimited. That's tons of money moving. Also, on a side note, 4 Time Walks sold, all unlimited. Now, when I look at those kind of sales numbers, and you look at how much action we're seeing, it's unusual to see the reserve list sales in the last little while at these levels and across the board with many copies selling. There's a lot of cards out there moving in quantity, and I think what we're seeing is people trying to take positions in lower end cards that they think may trigger and go off. So a lot of speculators going on buying individual cards. Like the card like the Hibis of the Scale, right? That card used to be like a $20-something card, and now it's not. It's like 39 cents, okay? So when people see a card that low, somebody might take a stab at it knowing that if dragons come around, that card's going to rebound back up to $15. They can make a killing on a card like that. So when you see cards that low, like Hibis of the Scale, those are cards you might want to take advantage of, buy a few extra copies just in case. The just in case factor, if you say to me, Hibis of the Scale has been as high as 15, and I can buy 4 copies for $1.50, that means I could trade that $1.50 all the way up into the $60 range. That's insane money made, and that can be trade up money if you have enough quantity. If I have 50 copies, when dragons come around as a huge thing again for tribal, and people decide they want Hibis of the Scale, that's going to be big. Now, Xerath of the Claw has been really high too, but it's still at $14. It's not nearly as low. And as Mini Mox has been building a dragon deck, of course, I bought these cards at different levels, right? So Xerath, I think I paid like $35, whereas Hibis of the Scale, I think I paid $12. So I paid a lot higher, and when you look at the market now, maybe you want to buy some when things are cheap and nobody's paying attention. Flashiness gets people's eyes off of things, and that's when people can corner the market and take advantage. So with all the sales here coming in, last couple I'd like to mention. Oh, that one's there. Got that one. Covered that one. All right. Well, there's some I'm not going to mention right now. I'll save some for the live stream. Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another one. Have a great day today. Hi everyone, a big shout out and thank you because of the amazing patrons on this channel. Daily uploaded content is created, mastered and remastered and put out for everyone to enjoy. So thanks again to my patrons, to my YouTube membership members. Because of you, I get to do what I love doing, and speaking with you guys about Magic helps make my day. Hope you guys had a great time, and of course I will see you tomorrow with another video. You didn't think we were done, did you? You thought it was over? No, it's not really over. It was just over for the other people. Those who stick around for the ramble jamble, you guys get more. Badlands, 23 copies. Taiga, 20 copies. Tundra, 18 copies. Volcanic Island. Yeah, Mini Mox is almost going to get his. We got to wait till the end of the month when the thing comes around. That one sold 23 copies. Like, that's tens of thousands of dollars moving. That's huge. By the way, somebody bought an alpha. An alpha! Underground Sea. It was heavily played, but that's not the point. The point is, the market moving on all these cards may be lower in terms of, lower only in respect to what we're seeing on the numbers right now. When you see a Thrall Champion selling that many copies, yeah, it's more copies, but it's not more money. These kinds of money just won't draw the attention. Oh, it's 5 copies of a card selling. I mean, I should almost do a top 10 of the most expensive cards that sold this week. Maybe I'll try that as you know what? If you make it this far in the video, you guys can drop a comment that just says, do it. Yeah, we'll see how that goes over. Guys, have a great one. Do it.